Did you know that the average person spends about 11 hours a day consuming media? That's almost half your waking hours. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with information and entertainment, it's hard to believe that boredom could actually be good for us. But here's the shocking truth. Boredom can unlock your creativity like nothing else. Many great minds in history found inspiration in boredom. For example, Albert Einstein once said, "Creativity is intelligence having fun." When was the last time you allowed your mind to just wander? If you're like most people, probably never. But here's why you should start. This video will explore how boredom can be a powerful tool for creativity. We'll dive into the science of daydreaming, learn how to embrace stillness, and discover ways to turn boredom into a daily habit. Get ready to flip the way you think about boredom. By the end, you'll see that those dull moments are not just empty, they're full of potential waiting to be unlocked. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The Paradox of Boredom, a hidden superpower we all try to avoid boredom. We scroll through our phones, binge watch shows, or keep busy in every way possible. But what if boredom was actually a superpower in disguise? Think about it. When you're bored, your mind is free to wander, and that's where creativity often kicks in. Research backs this up. A 2014 study by the University of Central Lancashire found that participants who engaged in a boring task, like copying phone numbers, came up with more creative ideas afterward compared to those who didn't. The boredom actually pushed their brains to think more imaginatively once the mundane task was done. Boredom forces the mind to seek novelty, explains Dr. Sandy Mann, one of the study's researchers. When you're bored, your brain is looking for stimulation, and that's where creativity thrives. Boredom isn't something to avoid, it's a mental reset button. The next time you feel like nothing is happening, resist the urge to fill the space. Let yourself sit in that boredom, and you might be surprised by what your brain cooks up. Chapter 2. The Science of Daydreaming. Your brain on boredom. When you zone out and start daydreaming, your brain is still working hard behind the scenes. In fact, this is when the brain's default mode network kicks in. This network is like the brain's creative factory, where ideas are stitched together in unexpected ways. Neuroscientists have discovered that this part of the brain lights up during times of rest or boredom. In his book Imagine How Creativity Works, Jonah Lehrer explains, when we're not focused on a task, our brains are still making sense of the world, connecting dots, and finding solutions to problems we didn't even know we had. The magic happens when you're not trying. Studies show that when your mind wanders, it can make connections between unrelated ideas, leading to what's called divergent thinking. This type of thinking is a key ingredient in creativity because it allows you to think outside the box. A 2012 study published in Psychological Science found that people who daydream often score higher on creative problem-solving tests. So, the next time your thoughts drift during a dull moment, don't feel bad. Your brain is doing some of its best creative work. That daydream could be the seed of your next big idea. Chapter 3. Boredom Breaks. Why downtime fuels breakthroughs. We live in a world where every second is filled with noise, notifications, and distractions. But constantly feeding our brains with stimulation can actually block creativity. Why? Because the brain needs downtime to process information and generate new ideas. The writer Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, emphasizes the importance of embracing boredom to unlock deep creative thinking. He argues that constantly checking emails or social media can fragment your attention and make it harder to focus on meaningful work. Instead, allowing yourself to be bored gives your brain the space it needs to come up with fresh ideas. Here's an interesting fact. According to research from Microsoft, the average human attention span has dropped to 8 seconds, which is shorter than that of a goldfish. We're so used to distractions that we've forgotten how to sit still. But it's in those moments of stillness or boredom where breakthroughs often happen. If you want to boost your creativity, try scheduling boredom breaks throughout your day. This could mean taking a walk without your phone, sitting in a quiet room, or even doing a mindless chore like folding laundry. Let your mind wander, and you might be surprised by the solutions and ideas that bubble up. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on creativity and how to unlock your potential. Chapter 4. The Art of Doing Nothing, Mastering Creative Stillness in a World Obsessed with Being Busy. We've forgotten how to do nothing. But doing nothing isn't a waste of time. In fact, it can be one of the most productive things for your creativity. When you're not constantly occupied, your brain has the space to come up with original ideas. Philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." That might sound extreme, but there's truth to it. We rarely let ourselves be still. Meditation, for instance, is a practice that encourages you to sit with your thoughts. It allows your brain to reset, leading to fresh perspectives. Research from Harvard University shows that people who engage in mindfulness practices, like meditation, see improvements in their creativity. The study found that even a short period of stillness can improve divergent thinking, the kind of thinking that leads to new ideas. So, try embracing creative stillness. Instead of immediately reaching for your phone when you're bored, sit with the discomfort. Let your mind float. This may seem uncomfortable at first, but the stillness can lead to incredible mental clarity and creativity. Chapter 5. Forced Creativity. How boredom pushes you to innovate. Sometimes boredom is exactly what you need to push yourself out of a creative rut. When you're bored, your brain craves stimulation, and in the absence of external entertainment, it starts to innovate. You're essentially forcing your mind to come up with its own fun, or in this case, new ideas. An example of forced creativity can be seen in history. During the Great Plague of 1665, Isaac Newton was forced to stay home due to a lockdown. It was during this period of isolation and, frankly, boredom, that he developed his theories of gravity and calculus. With nothing to do and nowhere to go, Newton's brain had the time to explore new concepts. A similar phenomenon happens in our day-to-day lives. If you're stuck in traffic or waiting in line, your mind is left with no choice but to entertain itself. Instead of fighting that boredom, lean into it. Studies have shown that boredom encourages us to think outside the box. A 2019 study from the University of Bath found that boredom can enhance creativity by promoting exploration of new ideas and solutions. To use this strategy, start by creating pockets of forced boredom in your day. It could be as simple as unplugging for 20 minutes or setting aside time to be alone with your thoughts. Let the boredom kick in and see where your mind goes. Chapter 6. Turning boredom into a creative ritual. Your new power tool. Boredom doesn't have to be accidental. You can intentionally build it into your routine as a way to boost creativity. The key is to turn moments of boredom into a daily ritual, something you do consistently to let your brain rest and reset. The author of Atomic Habits, James Clear, writes about how small changes can lead to significant results. If you create a habit of giving your brain downtime, you can train yourself to become more creative over time. Clear suggests starting with micro habits, like setting aside 10 minutes a day to unplug and let your mind wander. Over time, this simple ritual can lead to big creative payoffs. Interestingly, some of the most successful innovators have embraced boredom as part of their creative process. For example, Steve Jobs was known to take long walks without any distractions. These walks often led to his most profound ideas for Apple. Try creating your own boredom ritual. It could be a daily walk, journaling without an agenda, or simply sitting quietly. Whatever you choose, make it a habit. This daily dose of boredom can become your creative power tool, helping you generate new ideas, solve problems, and approach challenges with fresh eyes. If you found this content helpful, be sure to subscribe for more tips and tricks on unlocking your creative potential.